Hi there, my name is Christine. I'm a second generation Taiwanese American and I'm married to a DACA recipient. Why am I telling you this? Well, these are the main things that inform how I vote. First, let me clarify second generation. My parents were immigrants and are now naturalized citizens. I was born and raised in the US. As a second generation American, the right to vote was something that I was aware of at a young age because, unlike many of my peers, my parents couldn't vote until I was in high school. As a Taiwanese American, my upbringing was inherently political. Second, if you don't know what DACA is, DACA stands for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. Many people think of recipients of DACA as dreamers or illegal immigrants. Both of these carry problematic misconceptions that you can research on your own. Basically, my husband's upbringing was also inherently political, and he still currently does not have the right to vote. So now we can move on to the purpose of this video, which is to share in detail how I vote as an NPC and provide some general information and resources. The reason I wanted to do this is because voting is not easy. I'm a college-educated middle-class millennial, and I want to validate the experiences of people like myself, as well as people with different backgrounds that find it difficult to vote, not because of access to the ballot, but because it's a lot of fucking work to actually vote. For starters, you have to be registered to vote, and in the majority of states, there's a deadline to register to vote. You can't just show up and vote. Then, in the majority of states, you also have to bring identification with you when you actually go to vote. Okay, so you're registered to vote, but then there's different ways to vote. One of the first times I voted in person, I think I had to complete a provisional ballot because I didn't know that you had to go to your specific assigned polling location. It might have also been because I had a vote by mail ballot and I had to trade it for a provisional ballot. I don't really remember. I just remember being confused and not knowing if my ballot was going to get counted equally. Several years later, I scrambled to complete a vote by mail ballot and mail it back out as quickly as possible, only for it not to get counted because it didn't arrive on time. Still, my preference was for vote by mail because I wanted to be able to sit down with the ballot and look up what was on it. So let's talk about the actual process of voting. I just participated in early voting today, and I only voted on one thing, but I researched three things. How does that work? Well, right now, it's the primary election, and I'm a nonpartisan voter. This gets really complicated really quickly, honestly, and I don't want to digress, so you can check out my description if you're interested in this further. But even with literally just three things to vote on, it still took me a solid hour just to review information about the different things and feel confident about my choices. So now into actually how I vote. I guess as a nonpartisan voter, I make more work for myself because I do review candidates regardless of their party affiliation, which most people wouldn't do. But then again, there's things on the ballot that are nonpartisan. So like I mentioned before in the past, I would sit down with the ballot and I would look up what was on it. And it was super frustrating because a lot of information wasn't available. I'm talking available, not accessible. Like the only thing about a candidate would be their Facebook page or a really low budget website. This is again where I've been told, and I know some will say that that's my own problem for even giving those candidates the time of day, which for the most part is true. Those candidates are probably not worth voting for. But the thing is, I don't want to be a part of the problem in terms of only giving candidates who have access to funding for a fancy website the time of day. So those smaller candidates, they might not be able to win, right? But they may have valid stances on important issues or be advocating for something that I would otherwise be unaware of. And this kind of brings me to my philosophy of voting. As a nonpartisan voter in a red state, I vote as an act of civic engagement and to exercise the right that I have to vote. I want to make sure that I cast an informed ballot and I don't necessarily care or have a strong opinion about the results. It might take me less time to vote on certain things if I was more active in the community, but I've realized that it doesn't really matter that much. A lot of people only vote for president or by party or whatever their friends and family tell them. A lot of people don't even vote. So now I save myself tons of time by abstaining from any election where there's no opposition. I always vote no on judge retention votes. I'm not obligated to vote for candidates to help them win against other candidates, so if I find one thing I strongly disagree with, I won't vote for them. That's not to say that I won't vote for a lesser evil, rather that I vote with my own conscience and conviction. Learning how to do this has taken me some time, and I'm really proud to have gotten here. I was actually planning to go into more detail on how I vote, as well as why I decided to vote early, but I've already said so much and I have so many links to share just with what I've said. So I'm going to do that with the general election in the fall, get into more detail. Please check out the description for all the things and don't hesitate to comment or share this video. Thanks for watching.